Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purana Namalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Atmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastuma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandhadami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunmanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samadaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste, Mama.
Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Namo Namah. Veda vinashinam nityam ya ena majamavyayam katam sapurushav partha kam ghatayati hantikam. So, O Arjuna, the one who knows this self to be indestructible, timeless, unborn, and not subject to decline, how and whom does he cause to kill? Whom does that person kill? As I told you, these questions are not seeking an answer from Arjuna. These are questions Bhagavan is raising as rhetorical questions. Aksheparte means that person cannot kill anybody, nor that person can be killed by that anybody. Who is that person? Who knows the self to be imperishable, timeless, unborn, and not subject to decline. Avinashinam, Nityam, Ajam, Avyayam. So, in the context of this sloka, in the last class, we were trying to understand the meaning of this word akarta, non-doer. Because this question will always come up in our mind. When we say non-doer means a person who is not engaged in any type of action. This is the simple, straightforward meaning of a non-doer. Akarta in Sanskrit. So then the question will be, if a person, a jnani is there, does he not do any action? First question. Second question is, we have talked about pravritti marga and nivritti marga. Nivritti marga means renouncing everything. Renouncing everything includes renouncing the actions also. So, does it mean that a person who is a sannyasi, who has renounced everything, has renounced all actions also, and that is why he is called akarta? If that is the meaning, I will not accept it, because I see that person doing action He is eating, sleeping, walking, doing everything that everybody else does. So how can a person be akarta, a non-doer? So in that context only, we were discussing these two terms, sannyasi and sarva karma sannyasi. And I was explaining what Puja Swamiji has actually elaborated in his commentary. What is meant by sarva karma sannyasa? And as I was saying, the jnani, even though he is doing all the actions which are necessary for him to survive, which are necessary for him to discharge or experience his prarabdha karma, he does not look upon himself or herself as a karta, as a doer. So it is a question of our orientation. Whenever we are doing any action, there are two things involved in an action. First is the action itself, and second is why we are doing that action. If you actually analyze, all our actions have got a purpose behind it. An action of sleeping has a purpose behind it to get rest. For give rest to the whole body, mind, sense complex, sleeping. Action of eating to fill our stomach. Action of earning a lot of money. I don't need to elaborate, you will all understand what is the purpose behind that. So if you take our Purusharthas, Artha, Kama and Dharma, it's all action oriented. Karma Kanda is full of karmas only. Even when you come to Jnana Kanda, Moksha, a person who is actually pursuing a spiritual path, he also is enjoying to do a lot of sadhanas. Sadhanas means what? Action. Nitidhyasanam is action. Shravanam is action. Mananam is action. Now, what does this mean? This action. There can be no human being or no being actually without doing an action. But the difference which Bhashyakara brings out, in fact, he discusses this very elaborately in his commentary rather, and he also quotes from later verses of Bhagavad Gita in order to establish what we must establish the correct meaning of the Sarva Karma Sannyasa. So what he highlights is that through all those slokas which Bhagavan will be actually advising Arjuna later on, the person who has got self-knowledge, Atma Jnana, alone is qualified for Sarva Karma Sannyasa. Even though that person is actually seen to be engaged in so many actions, first of all, his attitude towards those actions is, I am not a karta. And secondly, whatever actions I am doing, the result of that action in form of punya and papa, they do not bound me because I am asangaha. Such a person is not bound any longer by the karmas that he does. So, a person can be called a Sarva Karma Sannyasi if he or she does not have the notion of doership. That is very important. With what notion we are doing an action is very important. So a Sarva Karma Sannyasi is a Jnani, one who is totally free from all karmas. Even if karmas are performed, the Jnani does not have the notion that he is doing any action. And in this, he or she has got no doubt whatsoever. Because with reference to the Atma, the self, which is what the Jnani understands himself to be, his real nature to be, there is no notion of doership in that self. And that's why in the last class I quoted a sloka from the 5th chapter. Yoga yuktaha vishuddhatma vijidatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma kurvan napina lipyate. Even though he does all actions, those actions do not cling to him, attach to him. He is not bound by those actions. Who is that person? He is yoga yuktaha. He is a vishuddhatma. He is a vijitatma. And he is a jitendriya who has won over all his indriyas. And he understands that he is the sarva bhuta bhutatma. Sarva bhutatma, that he is one. There is no difference between himself and any other being in this entire universe. He understands the ekatva bhava. So when a jnani is engaged in these actions, all that takes place is that the sense organs, backed by the mind, engage themselves in their own fields of activity. The eyes keep seeing, the hands work, the legs move. These are the sense organs and also organs of action which are engaged in their own activity. Jnani has got nothing to do. He is only, as I said, he is a witness for all these activities. And that is what in the following sloka in the 5th chapter, Bhagavan says, Indriyani indriyarteshu vartante iti dharayan. The sense organs are interacting with the sense objects. That is what is happening whenever actions are taken place. The jnani who understands himself to be the pure self, the Atma, consciousness, Satchitananda Swarupa, he understands that I don't have anything to do with these actions. Let them do whatever they are doing to do. I am totally free from these actions. Therefore, whatever a sarvakarma sannyasi does, he or she does only because it has to be done, and not because he has got some desired result for that action. And that is why many people question Adi Shankara. He became he's a sarvakarma sannyasi, but he still went about setting up so many mathas all over India. Did he not have a desire that he should set up these mathas and become the mathadipati, appoint his people all over the place? Typical corporate thinking. He did all that because he knew that that was what was to be done for loka hitam, loka sangraham, for the benefit of Sanatana Dharma to be carried forward. He had no personal agenda involved in setting up these mathas. That we have to understand very, very carefully, and that is what the attitude of a jnani is when he is setting up an ashram, or when he is conducting a classes, or when he is teaching, or even when he is actually doing prayers, he is doing puja in a temple. He doesn't do anything for his own self. He doesn't need to do anything because his self is beyond all these karmas. That he understands. And he also understands that he has got a prarabdha karma to exhaust. The prarabdha karma started off before he even became a jnani, or he gained jnanam in this janma. The moment he was born, the prarabdha karma started off. That has to be exhausted. Jnani cannot do anything to retrieve an arrow which has already been shot. That arrow will have to go travel and hit the target. That nobody can stop. Even Bhagavan cannot stop that. So jnani knows that this prarabdha karma which I have been born with has to be exhausted. For that, certain actions may be performed, may be required to be performed. So that is why I am doing these actions. Not for any benefit, not for any desired result. And this theme, Bhagavan Krishna will keep repeating throughout the Gita Shastra. This is something that we have to understand very, very carefully and very firmly also. Otherwise, all these things will be storytelling and we will just enjoy nice, good story, good morals, good ethics. But what is the final benefit? Have I achieved my spiritual goal? One can answer that question oneself. So what is relevant here in this sloka is the initial conclusion that the Atma is not subject to any change or destruction. Of course, a lot more places Sarvakarma Sannyasa is being talked about in the Gita Shastra. We will see that later whenever the context comes. Now, after discussing the various aspects of the nature of Atma and also briefly having touched upon the Anatma Dharma, Bhagavan Krishna now explains what death is in the next sloka. Because Arjuna's shoka was what? His grief was caused by the notion that death means destruction of a person and he could not bear the loss of his near and dear ones. This was the main problem Arjuna faces, isn't it? Especially with reference to Bhishma and Drona. He was always talking about how can I kill them? They are my teacher, they are my, bandhus and all that, he said. So Bhagavan now picks up the topic of death and tries to explain to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us what death means. And this sloka and the next sloka are very famous slokas. And they are often quoted in the obituaries published in the newspapers and all that. We might have seen some great industrialist, there are some big persons, when they pass away, though when the obituary comes, they quote these slokas. So I'll read the sloka. Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grinnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. So Anvaya is yata naraha vihaya jirnani vasamsi grinnati aparani navani. We can add vasamsi here, navani vasamsi grinnati tata dehi vihaya jirnani sharirani sanyati anyani navani sharirani. We can add. There are, because the sloka is there, some certain words if we add, with understanding will be very clear for us. So the word meaning yatha, just as. Naraha vihaya, a person gives up. Jirnani vasamsi, worn out old clothes. Grinnati, and puts on or takes on. Aparani navani, other new ones. We can say vasamsi means clothes. Other new ones mean other new clothes. Tatha, so also. Vihaya, this Atma gives up. Jirnani sharirani, worn out bodies. Sanyati, and attains into, you can say. Means it's because Atma is always traveling to reside in another body. So we can say it enters. Anyani navani sharirani, other new bodies. That is what is all death is about. So just as a person gives up worn out clothes and puts on new ones, so also the Atma gives up worn out bodies and attains into other new bodies or new ones. So the word Nara means a human being. Etymologically also, one who cannot be destroyed. I think nariyate iti naraha. I think that is the derivation. I'm not very sure about it. Who always survives somehow, naraha. If a person is enlightened, he has Atma Jnanam, he or she survives eternally as eternal Brahman. If not, the person merely survives. You ask anybody, how are you? Surviving, sir. This is the answer, isn't it? We have come across. In Hindi, say, chal raha hai, they will say. So how he survives? Yatha. Yatha means just as. And this word yatha indicates an illustration which is about to be presented. Here, of course, the illustration which Bhagavan is using is discarding of old clothes for new or better ones. Similarly, the old body or sharira is given up and a new one is taken. Even the word sharira means that which is subject to disintegration. Shiryate rogadina yat tat shariram. That is the derivation. So bodies, physical bodies, become useless in time because of natural aging process, disease, or even abuse. The abuse may be caused by someone else's wrong action like murder, etc., for instance, or by our own abuse. Many people abuse their bodies by getting addicted to so many things. Smoking, drinking, drugs, isn't it? What is this? This is abuse. What is it? It's a self-inflicted abuse. In the process, the person destroys the body, and when he is about 60, 70 years old, he gets all sorts of diseases and wonders, why did I get this disease? So over a period of time, this body is rendered old and useless. Jirna. Jirna means that fully finished. So you are the one you are the one wearing the clothes, and you keep on wearing them on the sharira. And they are with you only as long as you find them useful. And then when they are useless, you throw them away and take on new clothes. And this process is repeated again and again and again. And all these are, what is that, nullis, and there is, I don't even remember, RMKVs, or all these big sari shop, or even for that matter, why sari shop, even male garments, people understand this, that people will use their old clothes and throw them away and buy new ones. So they are worrying. The whole garment industry is surviving on this sloka only, rather. So again and again we go buy new garments, throw the old ones. This is what continuously is happening. Similarly, there is a wearer of this body. There is a dehi, an indweller, the one who is residing in this body, in this deha. And he is no different from us in terms of his choices. So just as the body, this physical body is within the clothes, so too within this body, which itself is a costume, is the person, the consciousness, the indweller, the Sakshi Chaitanyam, the I, the real I. So here Krishna is talking about Maranam and Punarjan. What is death and what is rebirth? And he says what happens at the time of death and rebirth is that, and we must understand what happens at the time of death and rebirth, the Atma, not to the physical body. So Krishna says death and rebirth are exactly like changing clothes or a dress. A dress, if we look at it, is only a superficial covering on our body. So even with reference to a dress, if you just sit back and analyze, our physical body existed before we put on the dress. And when the dress is on our body, we are existing. And even after once dress is removed, the physical body continues to exist, isn't it? Therefore, one dress, when one dress is removed and another dress is put on, the change belongs to a superficial layer called the dress. But the inner content, with reference to a dress, the inner content is the physical body that remains the same. And the same logic is extended to the body, which is now taken as the dress for Atma. So the body is compared to the dress, and the Atma, the indweller, is compared to the, he is not compared, he is the inner content, the indweller. So when you have changed your dress, I do not say you have changed, isn't it? You can only change a superficial thing and not the essential factor. Similarly, every time a living being is born, it only means Jiva comes freshly dressed. Now the question is, how long can a person keep this dress? Because other dress, there are some people, they will keep on changing the dress even throughout the day. Morning one dress, afternoon one dress, evening one dress. Of course, it is now quite popular. People have got a dress at home, a dress for party dress, then for sleeping another attire. So like that, and sports, for walking another separate dress. So many types of dresses, even during a single day, we keep on changing, right? But generally, how long can a person keep a dress? It all depends upon the person, right? As I said, different people will have different preferences, different choices, how much they can afford. In fact, there are people who wear the same dress because they can't afford, they don't have that kind of a wardrobe to keep on changing, right? So different people take to dresses and give them up and take on new dresses. Similarly, jivas take the physical body, live there for some time, and thereafter discard this body. That is said here as Jirnani Vasamsi Vihaya. Having discarded the outlived body, or what you can call it, rather the old and worn out body. So just as the old and worn out clothes are given up because it can no longer serve its purpose. If the dress is torn and all that, will we feel like wearing it and go out and do any transactions? But at the same time, we cannot go and transact in a naked condition also. We can say, oh, my dress is torn, so I will come without dress. We can't say that also. So for the sake of transaction, like we all put on another dress and go out, so also Navani Aparani Grinnati. Aparani Vasamsi Grinnati. New clothes, other clothes, fresh clothes he takes to go out. So what happens with reference to the body and the dress happens exactly with reference to the body and Atma. Atma and body, I should say. And we can see this even in stage plays. Actors will keep changing their dresses. They'll go to the green room, or what they call the dressing room, quietly change the dress. The same actor, different dress, he will be there on the stage. Audience may initially, may not know who this new person is. Then they will realize the same person with a different dress, he has come onto the stage. But when he goes to the green room and changes the dress, nobody can see him. Nobody is allowed to go inside the green room, rather, right? When the artists, especially female artists, are there, when they are changing, there will be a person standing outside the door of the green room, not allowing anybody to go inside. Similarly, what does the jiva do? The physical body is used for some time, and after some time, it is no more useful to the society as well as oneself. It becomes a burden, just surviving with no benefit to oneself or to others, in fact, causing more grief to others and oneself. And when the indweller, the resident in the body, the Atma witnesses this and discovers that the prarabdha karma is now going to end, it discards this body. So he says, Tatha jirnani sharirani vihaya. Similarly, the old and worn out body is discarded by the jiva. And then what happens is the question. The jiva or the dehi, the indweller, anyani sanyati, puts on a new dress. For what purpose? Because it has to continue to do the transactions in the world. Sukham, dukkham has to continue for one more birth. And for that, again, that dress is required, new dress is required. And the process continues. After some time, that dress is also thrown away, another new one is taken. Thus, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. The cycle goes on and on and on. And this is the essence of this sloka. But when it is said that the jiva discards the old dress and takes on a new dress, what does it mean? So we have to understand this verse a little more in a little more detail from two different angles. If we go back to Tattva Bodha, we had talked about 4 items. Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, and Atma. So this Sanghata, this complex, body, mind, sense complex, is a combination of Atma and Anatma and consists of these 4 items. And we have also seen in Tattva Bodha that at the time of death, it is only the Stula Shariram which gets destroyed. The Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram, aided by the Jivatma, travel to take up another body. Therefore, out of these 4 items, at the time of death, the physical body alone perishes, which means that the other 3 will survive the death of the body. This we have to understand very carefully, because Bhagavan Krishna in the Gita has not elaborated all these aspects. But since we have got other texts like Tattva Bodha and all, whenever Bhagavan is saying something, we need to interpret it correctly and then understand. Therefore, when the physical body dies, the Sukshma Shariram continues, which is nothing but the mind along with all the Indriyas and Pranas. Pancha Prana, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Jnanendriya. 19 items we saw in Tattva Bodha, right? Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Pancha Jnanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Pranas are 15. Mano, Manaha, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, 19. So these 19 are independent of the Stula Sharira. This 19 constitutes Sukshma Sharira. They don't get destroyed. when the physical body is destroyed. And there is one more Karana Shariram. The Karana Shariram is the hard disk in which all our Punya Papas are saved, all our Vasanas are saved in that hard disk. They can't, they won't, it is just like the black box of the aircrafts. Even when the aircraft is fully destroyed, the black box will not be destroyed. That's why in a crash and all that, they look for the black box to find out the causes for the accident or the crash. Similarly, this Karana Shariram is a black box for us. It contains all the karmas. It contains those punya papas which are going to be responsible for our next birth, and our all future births. And whatever actions, punya papas that we gain in this birth, they all go and get added to that Karana Sharira. Not only the punya papas, but the vasanas of the previous janmas are all stored in that Karana Shariram. And the vasanas that we freshly developed in this birth also, they also get stored in that Karana Shariram. So, the Sukshma Shariram and the Karana Shariram, with all these things, they will continue. But then what are they? They are all Jadam. We say the Sukshma Shariram travels, Karana Shariram travels. How can they travel? They are Jadam. They can travel only if they are powered by the Jivatma, if they are given the power of consciousness by the Jivatma. So the Jivatma aids their travel outside the physical body. That is how they travel. Now what happens to Jivatma itself? When Sukshma Sharira and Karana Shariram themselves continue, what to talk of Atma? Atma will also obviously continue. The Sukshma and Karana Shariram will travel to another place where it can take another body based on the law of karma, and then freshly experience a new set of pleasures and pain. If lots of punyams are there, then they'll get a good shariram or a good loka even. One may get lot of punyas are there stored, and during this janma also this jiva has earned a lot of punya, and by adding, just like this, we have got these points in credit cards and all that, and even when travelers and all that, we have got this what they call miles you accumulate. So if you accumulate a large number of miles in your traveling, you have traveled frequently and accumulated a large amount of miles, what happens? You book an economy ticket and you can upgrade yourself to a business class or a first class by using the balance of miles. Similarly, in the case of the jiva also, if the jiva has already had lot of punya in the account and lot of punya it has earned here, with the miles called punya, the jiva can upgrade itself to a punya lokam, swarga lokam, brahma lokam. So many lokas are there above this earth. A jiva can upgrade itself. Punyena punya lokam. Similarly, if there are a lot of papas accumulated, then the jiva will be downgraded to a papa lokam. 7 papa lokas are there. 7 down. And if the punya papa are more or less matched, Ubhayam Manushya Lokam, again he will be born in the earth. Manushya Lokam need not necessarily be born as a Manushya, but within that also gradation can be there depending upon how much. Almost equally balanced Manushya Shariram you will get. But if the Punya is little less than the Papa is more, then probably one of the Stavara Jangamam life you will get. So too much Punyas, higher lokas, too much Papam, lower lokas. If it's a more or less an equal mixture, Manushya Loka. So all of us now are in that mixture level. Our current birth is because our Punya and Papa are more or less matched. If we want to get a higher loka in the next Janma or in some future Janma, what we should do? Collect more and more air miles, more and more Punya. At some stage we can elevate ourselves to higher lokas and become devas and devatas and all that. Because they are all powers. Agni Devata, the power we don't have. Maximum power we have got is to burn somebody with our tongue, with our words. But imagine how much is that with, in comparison with the power of Agni Devata to burn an entire forest, burn an entire city. So you can also acquire that power provided you earn more and more punyas and get upgraded to the higher lokas. Now, there is another aspect that we have to understand. When it is said that Sukshma and Karana Sharirams travel, there is a possibility of misunderstanding that the Atma also travels along with the Sukshma and Karana Shariram. And this is a very, very common misunderstanding. We know what is Sukshma Shariram and Karana Shariram, isn't it? What we have to understand that the Atma does not travel along with the Sukshma and Karana Shariram. Then why is Krishna saying that the Atma travels and takes up a new body? This is why I said this sloka, even though it looks very, very simple, to understand the word meanings, we need to go a little deeper into the sloka and understand what it means. So, Atma does not travel along with Sukshma and Karana Shariram. Why? Because Atma, the consciousness, cannot travel. It is all pervasive. There is no space for Atma to travel anywhere. And as far as Atma is concerned, it remains without any change. Therefore, the Dehi remains, Atma remains the same when the bodies appear and disappear. How do we understand this? It is similar to pulling down one particular house and building a multi-story building in its place. Now, this house earlier was occupying a certain amount of space in the atmosphere. Let us put it. Okay, there is a space it was occupying. We have broken that down, and in that space we have constructed another building. The space has not traveled from one place to another. The space continues to be same, but one building is gone and another building has come. Similarly, the Manushya Shariram may go, Atma continues to be there. It continues to bless whatever new body is taken by the Sukshma and Karana Shariram. Thus, the bodies appear and disappear, but Atma continues to be the same. So, Atma does not have any Punarjanma or Punarmaranam. Atma continues to be there. The Sukshma and Karana Sharira travel and take up a new body. And when that happens, the Atma is blessing that process. It is again blessing Sukshma Sharira. First, it is blessing Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira to travel, to take up a new body. And then once the new body is taken, it blesses the new body also and gives it sentiency. But now, Puja Swamiji goes a little further, and very, very useful discussion he has. Because these are all the doubts that will come in our mind. So he says certain questions now can be asked. When it was said that the Atma, the Dehi, discards the old and worn out body and takes up a new body, means Atma means this Stula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira take up a new body blessed by Atma. That is understandable. So when a person is really old, the body is no longer useful. A man, for example, maybe say 90, 95, 100 years old, unable to hear, see, walk, or do anything. He cannot digest his food or even open his mouth. And even if he can, he has no teeth. So such a body to survive is certainly useless. Because this old body is no longer useful, the indweller Atma lets it go to take a new body. That is quite understandable, just like giving up old clothes and taking on the new ones. This is all fine. However, this example will not hold in all the cases. Given that we see people dying away in the prime of youth with some, some terminal diseases, we can understand that accidents happen because of someone's mistake and all that, or carelessness or whatever. Someone dying because of a homicide is also understandable, in that the person has abused his free will, his or her free will, by performing a destructive action against a body which can be objectified by others. A bullet, for example, can destroy the physical body, the Stula Sharira, and once ruptured, the Sukshma Sharira can no longer live in it. Because the Pancha Pranas require the blood to carry it to all the parts. When the blood has gone out, the Pancha Prana cannot live, cannot have anything to do with that body, so it will leave. I mean, just like a car requires a few things, to operate, like spark plugs, steering and all. Without that, the car cannot be driven rather. So too, there is a minimum requirement for the Sukshma Sharira to be able to operate within the physical body. There must be a heart, there must be a kidney, for instance. And if they are ruptured, the body is useless, regardless of its age. Because the Dehi can no longer survive in it. A new body has to be found. However, when a young person, he dies of leukemia or some other, say, terminal disease, or due to some unknown reason, we cannot say that he or she did anything wrong to bring about this disease. He might have done one or two things wrong, but nothing sufficient to develop a terminal disease. Forget that person. Crib death. Newly born child dies, which is called crib death. One of the many ways a child may die. People are also struck down in youth and middle age in a number of ways. Energetic, ambitious people with a lot of plans, many irons in the fire, do succumb to heart attack suddenly. A football player, I mean, we have seen this quite often. I mean, he is so ambitious, so powerful, so vigorous. He plays, he's running around, suddenly collapses and dies in the football field itself. So question is, why do people die away like this when the body is not yet worn out? We need to find answer to this question. Otherwise, we will not be able to accept what Bhagavan Krishna is saying. Old body remove and new body take and all that. That's fine. What about the youngsters? What about children, just born children? So what here, we have to understand what Bhagavan Krishna is saying, that he is giving an example and explaining the process of death and rebirth. So what he is saying is the death of the physical body depends upon the Dehi. That's a very important point we must note. When the physical body has to fall is determined by the Dehi, the Atma. If the Jiva has taken this body and is a survivor of death, then there must be some cause which has brought this body into being. The Jiva was earlier another body. Now that body was given up and a new body is taken. For this process, there must be some cause. So if we accept that there is a Dehi other than this body who survives death, then that Dehi, that indweller, having survived not only this death but the previous ones also, is always a survivor. Then what is the conclusion? The conclusion will be the Dehi then must have come to this body because of the body's own karma, not because of God's will or for any other reason. That is where this whole sloka needs to be understood in the context of the law of karma. Many people think that it is because of God's will that we have got this body, or whatever weaknesses are there, we are born with. It's all because of God's will. And Pujya Swamiji argues, if a God who willed suffering to people would be some kind of a tyrant, a sadist, and that kind of a God will definitely require psychological treatment. There are some cultures who believe that the God is sitting on the judgment seat and he will decide whether you need to go to heaven or you need to go to hell. That means what? You are eligible for happy experiences, or you are condemned to, what is the grief and sorrowful experiences. Because if the God is not like that, why would he put so much sadness into people? Some people are born with congenital disorders, which can be fatal for no fault of the person. What kind of a God would sit there and give people such sadness from the very start of their life? Not only for the growing child, but for everyone around as well, especially the parents who are looking forward for a beautiful, nice, healthy child, and they get this child. Can you imagine their plight? Since seeing is suffering, and that itself is sickness in itself, rather. Anyone who is responsible for doing such things, including if it is God, is a sadist. And he is the first one who should be brought to justice. He has no right to sit on just judgment over people's actions or people's behavior. We could never ever sing in praise of such a Lord. Some are born with wooden spoons in their mouths, others with silver and golden spoons. Some are born with no mouth at all. What kind of a God would do this kind of a thing? Some are born orphans. The moment they are born, the parents are dead. Why are they even born? And if you ask such questions, people will say, don't ask. You should not ask questions. This is all God's will. And this is what is called double justification, God is first justified by what he does, and then we are told not to question his actions. Then why even talk about such a God then? Let us settle our accounts with ourselves. We have our own lot. You have a body here which has got its own problems. You don't require a God at all for all these things. If there is such a tyrant, it is better not to think of him at all. Puja Swamiji comes down heavily on this kind of a God trying to do all these things. On the other hand, perhaps the explanation is that we have actually asked for whatever we get in this particular lot in life. It is our own actions which has led to what we are undergoing. God is law. He is the order. Every order, say you do this, you will get this, period. It is not God is taking a judgment or subjective view. That law applies to everybody. Equally applies to everybody. So we asked for it and we got it. The Lord says, I am the one who made you, and at the same time, I have not made you. What does this mean? So this is like putting your finger into the fire, then asking the fire, did you burn me? The fire will say, yes, I burned you. Then you ask, why did you burn me? The fire will say, I didn't burn you at all. Now you become upset. You tell the fire, you just now told me you burned me. Then you say that you did not burn me. How can you say both? You are blowing hot and cold. I thought you blew only hot. Now I find you are blowing both hot and cold. Why is that? So the fire says, my dear, when you stuck your finger into me, I burned. To burn is my nature, my swabhava, and I burned. I cannot say that someone else burned, so I burned your finger, I said. But then I did not go after your finger, did I? I was burning in one corner. You came all along, walking towards me. I remained in my place. You stuck your finger into me and then got burnt. In other words, the burn that you got, you asked for it. So when you asked me, did you burn me? I said, I burned you. Second time, why you asked me, why did I burn you? I said, I did not burn you. You got yourself burned, my dear. And when you put your hand, because of my nature, I burned you. That is my law. To burn is the law which I am governed by. So this is the law. And what is meant by the law of karma? Prarabdha karma. It is the jiva's karma. The law of karma being there. If you accept a soul that survives the body, then you definitely have to account for the varieties of situations that you face. Thus, the prarabdha karma is the reason why a person, a dehi, comes with a particular deha for a particular purpose to exhaust a particular set of punya or papa by experiencing its result, and which dies when the job is done. Punya papa exhausts, the physical body falls, and the dehi takes up another body. Therefore, for an onlooker, the body may not be ready for death, but for a dehi, the job is done. Those who are bereaved may look at a particular death as something that is premature. But this is not the case from the standpoint of the dehi. Unless the death is caused by some wrong action, that is the abuse of free will on the part of oneself or someone else. That also we can bring within the law of karma, even when that happens. Because then it is either the samskara of this person or the samskara of the other person who has caused that death. Otherwise, it is for the dehi to decide when the body's job is done. In other words, when the purpose for which the body was taken has been accomplished. Therefore, even though the dehi may like to live on, the job for which the body was taken is done. When it is done, the tenure is over, the lease period is over, therefore death takes place. So just as in the world, a person takes on new clothes and give up the old ones, so too the one who indwells in the body, the jiva gives up the old body and takes on the new. The deha is always subject to death and always dying, whereas in the case of dehi, you cannot destroy it. Both these facts must be seen very, very clearly. This being so, Bhagavan again tells Arjuna, all this is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, this being so, there is no cause for any grief. Ashocyan anmashochastvam. This is the theme that continues and is the conclusion for this sloka also. So next sloka, I will just read the sloka, we will see the details in the next class. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapah, na shoshayati marutaha. So we will now say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Guruji.
Raghuji, I have few questions.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Hari Om. Padmaji, just a couple of
Yeah. I just said I reserved the poll. That's all. Let them all say bye.
Yeah. Let them.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Hari Om. Thank you.
Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I think you can now start with your questions, Padmaji.
Okay. This has been a question for me with a long time. I never had a chance. See, in several places in the shlokas, use Dehi, Atma, Jivatma, right? See if my understanding is correct. When you say Jivatma, is the Paramatma combination of Paramatma and the physical body is called Jivatma. Jiva, Jiva is the physical body. And then, please, I'm telling you the doubts, you can correct me. So that is one point. And when you say Dehi or the indweller, that Dehi is the Atma, because the indweller, the real essence is the Atma. These are the two questions. And I just, it keeps coming back and forth and I just get confused. That's all.
No, it is quite natural because see, at this point in time, even though we have listened to a lot of talks and a lot of explanations, it is not very easy for us to absorb it and keep it in our mind always.
Because
there is
Krishna,
always a possibility that even though at this point I may understand, but when I go away from the class, maybe in the next 2 days, the whole understanding will flow away. So what we have to understand, which I explained in one of the earlier classes in, I think, in the context of a similar question raised by another student. See, whenever we are talking about Jivatma and Paramatma, first of all, we have to understand that these are not two different things that we are talking. Right? Yes. Similarly, the example I will give you is, when you look at yourself in the mirror, are you talking of two different entities?
No. One is a reflection.
Correct. Now, when you are walking and the sunlight is following or falling from your back, and you see a long shadow in front of you, are there two entities?
No, that's a reflection, yeah.
But you are seeing two entities, right? You are seeing your body, you are seeing the shadow also. Similarly, in a mirror, you are seeing this body, you are seeing reflection also.
Yes.
This we must keep it in mind. So whenever we talk of Jivatma, we are talking of the reflection of Paramatma. There are no two entities. This is only one entity, but it is reflected in this body, mind, sense complex, because this body, mind, sense complex has the capability to reflect it.
Okay, I got it. Is that what Swamiji talks about OC and RC, original consciousness?
Yes. I have explained Tattva Bodha, all these things, full chart.
Yeah, I know.
I have explained it with a complete chart.
Yeah, I have the chart, but every time, but when I
that I can understand. I mean, it's not
that
very
is the
easy.
reason. Because of the different words they use. That's the reason, different, like one time I get it here, but as you teach, the doubt keeps coming back to me. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, what is Raghuji trying to say? What is? And then once you start explaining, I say, oh my God, this has been explained. But that is for confirmation, RC. And when you were saying, I said, oh yes, yeah, he was talking about OC and
Original
RC.
consciousness and reflected consciousness.
Consciousness. Okay.
That is all you have to understand. But then we must not think that the reflection is different from the original. Because
yes. It's
reflection
all the same.
Is reflection.
Reflection. It cannot reflect without the reflecting medium. Right.
The medium is there. That is the capability of the medium. So
medium.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for. I know. I hope I don't forget it, but I don't know. I can't.
No, even if you forget, you ask me 100 times, I will give you the same answer.
I know. But see, I have to remember. That's all. I have to retain it. I mean, I'm not saying. See, as you are explaining, it comes back to me. I wish it comes back to me as soon as I see those words.
It will happen. Don't worry. It used to happen to me earlier. Now it doesn't happen. So don't worry. It will happen to you.
Thank you, Raghuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, who was the first one? I think Anjali ji first raised their hand, if I'm not wrong. It doesn't matter. I will answer all questions.
Namaskara, Guruji.
Namaskara.
This talking about the higher lokas, is it? I have read somewhere that Goloka is the highest loka, and with Krishna's bhakti we attain Goloka. Is it said in Gita like that?
See, this is Bhuloka, or what they call Goloka, right? There is nothing called Goloka in the Shastras and all. There are some people, they give some names, Goloka and all that, right? See, Bhuva hai, Suva hai, Maha hai, Tapa hai, Jana hai, like that, there are 7 lokas, up lokas, right? The topmost loka is Brahma loka. Then Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Patala, Rasatala, Talatala, and all the lower loka. Right? What generally we call the Swarga and Naraka is two different. Actually, the Swarga and Naraka are only part of these 7 up and 7 down. So there is nothing called Goloka and all that, right? So, of course, there are other types of lokas. Apart from this, there's something called Pitruloka. The Pitruloka is a part of one of the upper lokas. That is the next loka after the Bhuloka, which is Suvar Loka, what we call. Bhuvar Loka, sorry, Bhuvar Loka. Because Bhuhu is the earth, Bhuvaha is the next layer, right? So the Pitruloka is a part of the Bhuvar Loka. So after death, this Sukshma and Karana Sharira, they go and they stay in that Bhuvar Loka or Pitruloka for some time and wait for the next set of Prarabdha Karmas to mature. So that is the waiting stage there. I mean, they have to wait till for a Prarabdha Karmas mature. When the Prarabdha Karmas mature, they will again travel to take a new body, depending upon what the Prarabdha Karma is. So this is all a process, we need to understand. This is how it happens. So, but then, if you ask a person from ISKCON,
ISKCON only talk.
ISKCON only talk about Goloka, Oloka, all this.
And that also Krishna Bhakti will attain the higher loka.
ISKCON doesn't follow any Vedas, any Shastras. For them, there is the only the text which they recognize is Bhagavad Purana. So they are stuck in the Purana stage itself. They are not even come to Bhagavad Gita stage and then come to Upanishad stage. They are stuck in Bhagavad Purana. That is why Krishna, and then they are confused people. They will call Krishna and then call consciousness, right? When you say consciousness, how it can have a name? Consciousness cannot have a name, Krishna, Rama and all that. Consciousness is consciousness. It is Atma. It is Sat, Chitta, Ananda. How can you call it Krishna or Rama? So they will say Krishna is superior most, is the Krishna consciousness. So this ISKCON is a mixture. I mean, see, we have to understand, I'm not criticizing ISKCON. Their purpose of ISKCON, you must understand very clearly, is to break the jinx of Christianity and bring maximum Christians in the Western world into the fold of Hindu Dharma. So they talk the same language where
Okay.
they use Christ,
Compare and
people use
yeah.
Krishna and all that. They try to sort of explain to them in their own language what Hinduism is by making a total mess of Hinduism itself.
Mhm.
And if you can see, the followers are all there in the West only. They are able to easily, the Krishna consciousness people will not come to Swami Dayanand Saraswati or Paramathananda ji and tell about all this Krishna and all that. Can you imagine that kind of a situation? That's a different kind of a, they call themselves Veda philosophy and all that, right?
Okay.
It's a Veda means what? Neither here nor there. That is what it is. That is Veda.
Yeah, understood. I have another question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Can we say that then in the law of karma, Atma has no role to play?
Atma has got no role to play in anything.
Anything?
Atma's only role is existence and blessing. That's it.
Oh, acha.
Atma is there everywhere, and in that Atma is like what? A film, the cinema screen. What is the role of a cinema screen in a cinema?
Project and project the.
No, project is done by projector. Cinema screen is just there, a white screen.
Display.
It helps. Its role, basically, if at all you can call it a role, is to get the
Platform.
or show the images which are projected on it.
It's a passive medium.
It's a total passive thing. It just is there. But without that, you cannot have a cinema. Isn't it? So Atma is like that. Atma is there everywhere. Without Atma, there will be no prapancha, there will be no universe. Because the whole universe is a projection on that consciousness, which we are also a part of that. When we talk of the Jivatma, Paramatma and all that, of course, I am now touching upon a very advanced topic. The Jivatma concept itself is a mithya. There is nothing called Jivatma. But that you don't need to now get confused about that. That's a when you actually go higher levels, you have understood what is this. Then we will talk about all those things. What is mithya, what is satyam, and even though I have touched upon a little bit in the earlier lectures, but these are all very, very deep concepts, very profound concepts which we need to understand in our spiritual journey rather. So at this point in time, all that you can understand is that the consciousness or Atma that we talk about can be compared to a film screen. Without the screen, you can't have cinema. But the screen itself does not contribute anything in terms of anything actively in terms of you're enjoying the film.
Okay.
Right. That is how you have to understand about the Atma. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, thanks.
Guruji.
Yes, Hariji. I'll come to Krishnaji after Hariji. Hariji.
Okay. Mr. Hari.
Mr. Hari. Hariji, unmute yourself. Hari. Yeah, tell me.
Guruji, when we were talking now about Jivatma. Now, the first question where Padmaji was asking about Jivatma, did I understand her correctly when she says Jivatma means Atma plus gross body?
I don't think she has. She wanted to know what is this Jivatma. Is it different from Paramatma? That is what she wanted to know.
When we talk about Jivatma, does the gross body has got anything to do with Jivatma? My understanding about Jivatma was Atman plus subtle body.
No. See, when we need to understand,
Yes,
the body cannot exist without a gross body.
Why? When we die, I'm not arguing. I'm trying to express my
Yeah, ask
understanding.
question. I will give you
When-
answer for that also.
Yeah, when we die, only the Jivatma lives.
Jivatma, Jivatma doesn't leave. The
The
subtle
gross
body
body is
subtle body leaves, Karana Sharira leaves, correct?
Yeah,
These two leave.
yeah.
Yes, it is said anywhere that they leave without a body.
I didn't understand your question.
See, when the body dies, the Sukshma Sharira and Karana
But what do you
Sharira,
mean by body dies means what?
physical body dies,
Gross body.
gross body, physical body.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
The gross body dies, the
Yeah.
subtle body and the causal body, they travel to take up another body.
Yeah.
That much is clear, no doubt.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, did anybody tell you that the subtle body travels without a body? Without a physical body?
I have that thought had never come to my
Never
mind.
come.
This is the first
That
time.
is why what happens, we now need to understand this a little more. What happens when death happens? We say that the first thing we say that Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira cannot exist without a Stula Sharira. Correct? Right? First statement.
Yes, Guruji.
You accept it, Hariji? Are you understanding? Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira.
I am trying to understand. I'm trying to absorb.
Step by step, I will take you through.
Yeah.
First step is Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira cannot exist without this physical body, without the Stula Sharira. Correct?
Okay.
That much is right. I mean, you have understood that?
I am trying to.
But what is there to try to understand? When I am now existing, correct? I have got this physical body.
Yeah.
I have got a Sukshma Sharira in me.
Yes.
I have got a Karana Sharira in me.
Yes.
Where are they? They are inside me, which I cannot see. I can only see.
That is when you are alive, you know. When I am alive.
Correct. When I am alive, when I am occupying this physical body with these eyes, ears, and all.
Yeah.
I can see this physical body.
Yeah.
Which is not having any hair here, wearing glass specs and all that, right? This physical body.
Yeah.
When the body dies, what happens? The Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira will leave this body and go. Correct?
Yeah.
This body will die. This physical body will die. When the Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira leave this body and travel.
What do you mean by travel? That word travel is little.
Travel means they physically go from one place, from here to Pitriloka.
Okay.
To a different world.
Yeah.
And stay there till they get eligible, become eligible for taking another body.
Yeah. The boarding call.
So till such time they have to wait in the lounge, waiting lounge, correct?
Yeah.
That is travel from this Bhuloka.
Yeah.
Travel to another loka. And wait there till the prarabdha karma kicks in and they get a new body.
Yeah.
Now this travel which happens, do you think that they are traveling without a body? Answer. What is your understanding?
I have no understanding, you know.
So
I never.
what we have to
this question, it was never.
Correct. So these are questions, no, that should actually we must ask and find answers.
Yeah.
From a Vedanta point of view, all these are all not important, but I am telling you because these are questions Vedanta students will get.
Yeah.
When the Sukshma Sharira and Karna Sharira leave this body, Sukshma
Yeah.
Sharira, Karna Sharira cannot travel without a physical body. What can travel only is a physical body, and the Sukshma Sharira, Karna Sharira, we say travel, they can also travel only if they have got a physical body. Correct?
Yeah.
What they do, they take a body called Preta Sharira.
Oh,
We can't see that.
invisible.
Invisible. Like we can't see a virus with our eyes.
Microscope.
Microscope. So these Sukshma Sharira, Karna Sharira, when they leave this body with flesh, blood, veins and arteries and blood vessels, everything,
Yeah.
when they leave, they take another physical body which is called Preta Sharira.
Okay.
And if you understand all the Shraddha mantras that we recite when we do Shraddham,
Yeah.
you will understand all these things. So when we are praying, we are doing the Shraddham, we are doing Shraddham to that Preta Sharira.
Okay.
And they will be in that Preta Sharira till they get another Stavara Jangama body or whatever it is, Devata body or whatever it is, another body in one of the lokas. Till such time, they will not just be, like, subtle body means subtle, we cannot see. And what is subtle? The subtle has to be within a gross only. Subtle cannot survive without a gross encasing. So the encasement, which is this gross body, is always required for a Sukshma Sharira and Karma Sharira. They will never ever be without encasement. So that encasement form changes. That's all. We can't see that. Some people claim to see that also, of course. That is, they hallucinate. I saw the ghost of my father. I saw, so and so came and all that. Those people, of course, are hallucination. But with the human eyes, with the human intellect, we cannot see the Preta Sharira. The only pramana for that is Shastras. Shastras talk about all these things. That there is a Preta Sharira and the Preta Sharira goes and we do. People ask, when the person has died, when the person has taken up another body, why do we continue to do the Shraddha? This is another very fantastic question. The so-called enlightened, educated Brahmins ask this question. Do you know that your parents, they have taken up another body? Have you got any evidence of that?
You only presume.
Huh?
You presume.
How can you, what basis you presume? The Shastra nowhere talks about how long does the Preta Sharira stay in the Pitriloka for it to take the next body. It could be 1000 years. It could outlive your life also.
It will be a wait list there.
Not a weightless. It depends upon the karma of that particular jiva. What is that karma? Do you know the karmas of your father? One karma you know, because of his karma, he got you as your son. That's the only karma we can be sure. For whatever benefit it is. But other than that, we don't know our own karmas, what to talk of nobody, how other people's punya papa. So what our Shastra's approach is, what they call, to be on the safe side. Continue performing this till your life is there, on the assumption that they are still there in the Pitriloka. That is your duty, not physical duty. It is your moral, ethical duty because they are your parents. You have to do that Shraddha karma with that attitude, not as a favor you are doing to your parents. This is all very wrong thinking has come into people's minds. They think that doing Shraddha, they are doing some, my father did not do anything to me. Why I should do Shraddha for him? These are questions people really ask. Very sad. But what our attitude should be, whether somebody has done, not done, that is our perspective. What I should do, I should do. That is what the whole Sanatana Dharma is about. Do your duty, come what may. That is what Sanatana Dharma is. So we must do our duty. The Shastras say that don't worry about whether your Pitra has got a rebirth and done all those kind of things. Don't worry. You, as long as you are alive, as long you are able, as long as you are capable, continue to perform Shraddha Karma. And in that also, you just see the beauty of our Shastra. You can't do it formally with Homam and all that. We are giving you an exception. Because many people may not have the wherewithal to do a very elaborate thing. Just to give some, a small cup of rice and just two raw bananas to two people, enough. 1 rupee coin you give as a dakshina, enough. So there is so much there, leeway Shastra gives. What has happened? Even when people have got all the facilities, they will still give this banana and this rice because that is the easiest way to do it. That is not Shraddha at all. That is not Shraddha at all. So there are so many things. If we have to sit and talk about all these things, we can go on talking. But to answer your question, coming back, what we have to understand is that this Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, or Sukshma Sharira and Karana Sharira cannot survive, cannot even travel without taking another physical body. That is called Preta Sharira. That is what travels. And it is said, just one additional information, that Preta Sharira has got a very strong inclination to stick on to this physical body which is dead. And that is why in our culture, we first of all go and burn this body. But still, the Preta Sharira has got a very strong attachment to the environment in which this body had existed, the house, the people and all that. That is why the 13 days, the 12 days karmas that we perform is to relieve that Preta Sharira from all these attachments and let it go and find its own, new world for, as per its own karma. That is why all that 12 days karmas we perform. And because those karmas are not supposed to be very Shubha karmas, 13th day we perform a Shubha karma to remove all the Ashubham attached to those 12 days karmas. So these are all things, karma kanda issues which we need to understand. Once we understand, we will appreciate everything that we do.
When I lost my mother last year, then we were performing some of the kriyas. At the time, the Purohit Vadyar, he was explaining, one of these days we cook all the food without salt.
Salt, 12th day.
The 12th day. So,
10th
which
day,
is
10th day.
meant for, and it was meant to see that this preta, because the food is without salt, it gets disturbed,
Yeah,
and
it understands that these people don't, love me anymore. They are giving me food.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all, of course, things like that. So that is what it is. Anyhow, so I think next question, let us go.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you. I know this. You have given me so much of ammunition for me to
think about.
and.
Premaji, I'll come to you later. First, Krishnanji's turn.
No, my question, basically, you started off with Krishna explaining to Arjuna about death. Somehow I felt it is oversimplified. Reason being, it is not like, changing of clothes or anything. Yes, people who have lived the life, who almost reached their fag end of their life, their departing is different than looking at a battlefield where both the sides, you've got several youngsters who will give up their life fighting the battle and who have got really a long time to go in their life.
Correct.
So to say that it is equivalent to changing of clothes doesn't apply to those youngsters who, like for example, Colonel, that person who died in the Galwan Valley. He was so young to give up his life.
Correct, correct. True. That is why Puja Swamiji, see, after all, a sloka is a sloka. Krishna is telling this to Arjuna. But here what we are trying to do, we are spending couple of hours on every sloka to understand all the dimensions of that sloka. And that's why Puja Swamiji in his commentary has actually touched upon this particular thing. Even Swami Paramarthanandaji in his commentary, at least not in the Bhashyam, but only on his Moolam, he has not talked about this. So when I was reading both Swami Paramarthanandaji's commentary as well as Puja Swamiji's commentary, I brought in these ideas from Puja Swamiji's commentary because I think they are very relevant for us to understand the sloka in its totality. Rather. At the end of the day, the sloka only talks, and you are absolutely right, very simplistic, right? But then there are so many questions which will be there in our mind. So as a teacher, it is every teacher's endeavor to actually bring onto the table the questions that the students may have and then answer those questions so that the later on, they don't go away with the feeling that, oh, so many unanswered questions are there. This has not been explained. That has not been explained. So you are right in that. And that is why today's whole class was spent only, and yesterday's class also spent in addressing, all the issues. But again, I will say, I have only been very brief in addressing this. If the full answer we will get only when we read the Bhashyam of Adi Shankara. And not only that, we will actually keep on getting answers as we go further in Bhagavad Gita, different places. Different ideas will come in, and then we will connect it. Oh, this is to be connected with this sloka. That is the answer to a question, unanswered question that I have. So we have to understand Bhagavad Gita in its totality and not on individual chapters or individual slokas like that. And that's what many people do. Rather, they pick up few slokas here and there and they criticize without understanding the whole of Bhagavad Gita, looking at it from a macro standpoint. Okay, now next Premaji, then Sunekaji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to first address Mr. Krishnan's question. The thing is, when a person is a senior and he has lived his life fully, you said that it's easier to say that he changed his clothes, but we change clothes throughout our lives. Say a little boy gets his clothes snagged on something, you would change his clothes because his clothes are torn. So therefore, each one has been assigned a span of time in life. And therefore, when that term is over, whether it is because of a snag, because of malfunction or whatever it is, it does change its clothes.
Yeah,
okay, I just wanted to add that, Krishnanji. The second, my question is the use of the word choice. You said, a choice of a body is made according to the needs and wants and desires, etc. If I had a choice, I would choose something that would be beneficial to me. Why would a child choose a parent who is abusive? Why would you choose a husband who is handicapped? Or so the thought of being tossed into a womb.
Sorry, did he say it is a choice anywhere?
Yes, you said that it is a choice the subtle body makes to enter into a body. So I was thinking, I don't think we have much choice. I think a calculation is made and a higher force or whatever it is, our karmic bundle just takes a body, and therefore we have to expend without understanding what we have to learn in this lifetime.
See, when you're talking about choice, the answer is yes and no. We don't have a choice in what we choose. But we have a choice in what is chosen for us. I'll explain. Today, when we say, because of a certain punya or a certain papa, or a combination of them, I am getting a certain body, whether it's a human body or a devata body or a animal body or a plant body, correct?
Mm.
What is the cause? Punya or papa or a combination of them. How I got that punya and papa? I exercise a choice. I exercise a free will. At some point in time, in one of the hundreds of crores of births that I have had, I exercised my free will and I did some action which actually gave me an invisible result as a punya or a papa and got added to my karma account. I cannot put back that. Whatever I have done is gone, finished. I have already earned the plus and minuses of that. Today, it may be a choiceless situation for me to what body I get. But when I initially did that action to earn this punya papa, that was a choice that I could have exercised. Even today, how many of us exercise the right choices to do the right things so that in keeping our next janma in mind or a third janma in mind, we want to do all the right things. How many of us are doing? We don't do it. So the question is whether we have a choice or no choice is yes and no, both. At the time of doing an action, we have a choice, we have a free will. But once we have done that action, we have no choice over the results of that action. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That is, Krishna will say now later on in this chapter itself. We have got the free choice only for doing the action. That time, if we have got the real, intellectual capability, we will do the right actions. And where to look for right action? Don't look anywhere. Look at the Shastras. They are giving you full manual after manual after manual. Read the Shastras, understand the Shastra. What is right? Niyama, yama, yama, niyama. You start with the yama, niyama only. That itself will take you to all the right path. So the answer to your question is both yes and no, I will say. At this point in time, we have no choice. But at some point, for us to reach the no choice point, we had a choice. That is what it is. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Hari Om. Yes, Sulekha ji.
Thank you.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Um,
I have two questions, clarifications. One is you had mentioned that the Preta Sharira is the encasement for, if my understanding is correct, is the encasement for the subtle body and the causal body, but it's invisible. So is invisibility still part of the grossness or the gross form? Is there a invisibility in a gross form?
It is a part of the gross body, gross world rather. It is. But it is not visible to our eyes. That's all. Because we don't know whether it is invisible to dogs. We don't know whether it is invisible to some other animals and all. Because the power of the eyes to see things are different. They differ from species to species. Human eyes, it is invisible. That much we can say. I've never unfortunately asked any dog whether you can see the Preta Sharira. Nor has the dog given an answer. But our only pramanam is Shastra talks about it, so that is our means of knowledge. Like Papa Punya is invisible to us, right? But Shastra talks about it, so we believe in that, and that such a thing is there like that. The part of the gross world only. Because
So
that also that Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira will give up that encasement also. That body also will die when they actually come back and take another body, right? So that process goes on. Yeah.
So for the human senses, or for the sense organs, we are within a certain range of availability of range for us to be able to see or hear or interact with the world.
That is general, you can say, but there are people who develop a higher sensory capabilities. What you call the siddhas are there, right? Siddha Purushas. Ashta Siddhi they have got. They have they have developed through sadhanas and all that a much higher capabilities than normal human beings. So those there again, when we are talking about human beings, we can talk about our people like us. But then even in that, there are categories like Adi Shankara is supposed to have, he had a Siddha. To the subtle body, he had a capability of taking his subtle body and to another dead body and make it come alive. So these things are all there within the realm of this entire unknown aspects of this entire prapancha. We do not know. What we know is only very small, minuscule of how this entire universe functions. We don't know much of it. But then when we read these stories or all these things, we come to know that such things also exist. This is possible. So to answer your question, yes, within our limited thing, we cannot see it, but some other people may have higher powers to see them. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. My second question is around the Jivatma. And just to clarify that the Jivatma is a combination of the Atma and the Anatma. And the Anatma is our individuality. It's our subtle and our causal body. And the Atma is eternal, impersonal, and always existing, always pervading.
One thing is, add the gross body also is Anatma. Gross, subtle, and causal. All three are Anatmas. And Atma is all pervading, pervades all of them and powers them and gives them sentience.
Can we also say then that the Anatma is as it is an individuality, a personality, that it is ignorance, and through the Shastras, we are trying to gain knowledge? Is that the correct understanding?
No. Atma is not individuality.
No, the Anatma, excuse me, the Anatma.
Yeah, Anatma is, you can call it individuality, and it is Anatma is actually even, Anatma, you can say from the point of view of intellect, being blessed by the Atma is the seat of ignorance. You can say that. Yeah, certainly. Yeah. That is true.
Thank you.
You can say that.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Paramarthananda is coming to Bangalore.
I know. Yeah, he is coming to Bangalore. 1 week he is having a...
On 1st of May, he is delivering lecture on Bhagavad Gita chapter 17.
Yeah. And also, I think he is going to... Morning, I think some other lecture, evening Bhagavad Gita chapter 17 is there.
I got a circular that he is coming.
There. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yes, he is coming to Malleshwaram. Malleshwaram in the morning and Jayanagar in the evening.
Yeah, that is true.
I
think he's going to Coimbatore also for some days. I didn't see that program. Normally he goes to Coimbatore, then comes to Bangalore in the month of May. So this time I'll have to check.
My husband is going to attend the classes. He's a follower of Paramatmananda and he never misses his class.
Nice.
And I am trying to understand Bhagavad Gita by hearing. I have not yet done studies. That's why I am not able to ask you any questions, but I am planning to do it. Go deeper and read and all that.
Yeah, no problem. That is
in fact, I don't know if you observed recently, a person who is currently 126 years old received Padma Shri.
Yeah, that's some yogi, right, from Banaras or something. Yeah. So he did a Shashtanga Namaskara to...
he was president as well as prime minister. It was shown on the TV.
Yeah.
And he is very active. And then subsequently, I saw a couple of interviews of his. And for his age, he is very alert and very good.
Very strong prarabdha karma from previous births he is carrying. He has done all the right things in the previous births, unlike us.
And he is staying in Varanasi.
Staying in Varanasi, yeah. There are people, I mean, see, one of the thing is that such people are there, they come out, and at least in this case, we come to know. There are so many people there will be about whom we don't even know.
We got to know because he was awarded Padma Shri. Otherwise,
exactly. He was awarded Padma Shri because that is why we know rather. Otherwise, we won't even know. There may be people.
There may be
Our Shastra, Jivema, Sharadashatam, Nandama, Sharadashatam, Bodama, Sharadashatam.
Correct.
100 years you live, that is what our prayers are. So long living is not a curse. We make it a curse by doing all wrong things, and then we are saying living long life is a curse. You can have a very nice life, long life, very disciplined life,
Correct.
and little bit of knowledge of Atma Jnana is there, nothing like it.
Absolutely.
So you can just be careless, emotionally, totally free. So that is possible.
That's
possible.
what his answer was, have no desires.
Yeah, have no desire. Exactly. Because why? Because I've got everything.
Correct.
Who will not have a desire? A person who has got everything will have no desire, right? So the moment you understand Aham Purna hai, then there is no question of any kama in that. No desire will be there, isn't it? That is the crux of the whole thing. Understand Aham Purna hai. Every second I am Purna hai. Then there is no problem at all. No desire. Something comes, take it. Doesn't come, don't need it. Period. That should become we should turn our attitude towards that. Not easy, but we must keep on doing it till we reach that stage. So such people you will find that they have no desires, does not mean that they will not feel hunger or anything. They have no desires which actually impels them to do some action and then get into all sorts of problems. They will also have a desire to eat, desire to sleep, and all that.
Basic necessities only.
Minimum, that's a jnani. Minimum necessity, whatever has to be done for discharging the prarabdha karma, that you do. That's it. Other than that, I don't need anything. If it is very hot, it is hot. If the AC is there, very good. Not there, also okay. No problem. That is how the jnani's attitude is. Titiksha, development of titiksha. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Adiji, last question.
Oh, sorry, I'm holding somebody.
No. He raised his hand just now.
No, you didn't. Suddenly I remembered. During the lecture, you were talking about Egatva Bhava.
Samatva Bhava, Ekatva Bhava.
Yeah, did you mean by that me in all and all in me?
Yeah, you can say.
No, what did you mean by Egatva?
Ekatva means seeing everything only as the Satchidananda Swarupa.
Okay.
Not making differentiation based upon sex,
Okay.
color, and all that kind of a thing.
Okay.
What he says, just trying to remember that sloka from the 7th chapter.
Yeah.
Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanmam prabhadyate vasudevah sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Bhagavan will say, 7th chapter. Okay. Vasudevam sarvamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. Everything is Satchidananda Atma.
Okay.
He says that Mahatma who understands this, and when it happens, Bahunam Janmanam Ante.
Yeah.
After all, towards the end of all the births as per your law of karma that you have been taking, at that time only you will get this knowledge. Sarvam Vasudevam iti. Everything Vasudeva alone. Everything is Satchidananda Brahman alone. That understanding, that is what is Samatva Bhava, Ekatva Bhava, whatever you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hari Om. Now it's time for
nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Tomorrow's Vishnu Sahasranamam will be broadcast lecture will be from Hyderabad. Change of venue.
Oh, you are coming to Hyderabad?
Oh, you are in Hyderabad?
Yes.
Oh, I am coming to Hyderabad to attend one this Upanayanam.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you.
So, yeah, I will come in the morning. Then day after tomorrow night, I am back in Bombay.
Where will you be?
Manikonda is a place. I don't know where is Manikonda. I have not been to Hyderabad. Only once I have been in my life. I don't know much.
But you will be staying with somebody or?
No, no, no.
Aavignidhi hotel.
See, what that it is actually my uncle's grandson who is having the Upanayanam. So
Ah.
I will be staying in a hotel which they have arranged someplace. I don't know where they made the arrangements. So the Upanayanam is going to be held in some temple or something. So from the airport, I will directly go there, and then they will tell me where they have made the arrangement for stay and all that.
If you can tell me in which hotel, if you
Yeah.
have time and if it is possible, I will try to
I
come
can,
and see.
yeah, once I reach there, once I come to know, I can
Ah.
let you know where it
Yeah.
is. In fact, 1 second, I don't
It may be
know.
you may be staying near my house.
Quite possible. I don't know. I'll just tell you which area it is.
Ah.
Then you may be able to tell me.
It may
whether-
be high-tech city, most probably.
No, no, no. It is a place. I'll tell you. What is this? The general district Manikonda, Shivapuri colony, and they all.
No, Manikonda is okay. Hotel may be.
What
It
is
could be
hotel?
somewhere in high-tech city or Gachibowli somewhere.
Apollo, some clinic. What is this? 1 second. 1 second. Let me see. Anyway, I will let you know tomorrow when I reach there.
Yeah. If possible, at least I will try to talk to you.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Hari Om. Thank you very much, all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.